Then when I joined IBC as a commissioner is to sit with colleagues and together with the chairperson and really put bare what is this that brings transmission issues to a lot of mistrust.
Former journalist Bevin Angela Boke was asked to explain how her skills and competencies will help to improve IBC's corporate image.
Do we have branding guidelines within? Do we have policies that guide our branding guidelines? Because that also informs the corporate image of the IBC. There's also a language of how we need to talk to the media. You just not every time you're talking to the media. There's a way we need to train ourselves on how to even speak to the camera.
On her side, Celestine Rono, unaccounted by profession, said if successful, she'll propose a reduction of polling stations from the current 45,000 to 22,000 to reduce the cost of elections.
If you can get to push it at least more, you'll be able to save a lot on the polling stations, that the number of staff that you employ in polling stations, because maybe if it is an example, if it's 4 clerks as per the supervisors.
Charles Mine and Crispin Owie were the last applicants to face the panel on Tuesday. On Wednesday, the Nelson Makanda-led selection panel will interview 6 candidates. The interviews are expected to end on Thursday, the 24th of April.
And still on matters IEBC, the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition wing led by Kalonzo Musyoka is alleging a scheme to rig the 2027 elections through what they call as skewed recruitment of IEBC commissioners. The opposition is now demanding inclusive talks, bringing together the government side and the opposition before the appointment of successful candidates for the position of chairman and commissioners.
With the interviews for the next Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission chairperson having concluded last week, the search has shifted to the remaining 6 commissioners before the IEBC selection panel identifies successful candidates and forwards their names to the president for appointment. A process the opposition now claims it has no faith in. Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka, who leads the group, alleges a plot to rig the elections through the recruitment of individuals who allegedly have links with the government or ODM.
Swala hili lina umuhimu mkubwa sana, na sisi hatutakaa kitako tu na kungojea uamuzi wa pande moja kutoa list ya wale ambao watakuwa wameteuliwa kama wenyekiti ama mwenyekiti na pia wanachama wa tume ya IEBC.
We wish to point out the case of Joy Medivo. She has been the chairperson of the UDA Internal Dispute Resolution Committee. It is clear that Ms. MS Medivo is not eligible for consideration for appointment as IEBC Commissioner as stipulated in Article 88.
The opposition claiming a choreographed scheme to sidestep qualified and suitable candidates.
Quite a number of those who made the list have questionable credentials, and some of them have partisan interests and are either members of the UDA party and the ODM party or managing somebody within UDA.
They have called for a multi-stakeholders consultation before the chairperson and commissioners are appointed.
Hatuko kwenye broad-based. Kwa hivyo haiwezekani pahala tumefikia Bwana Raila na Bwana Ruto wakutane kwenye ikulu wakiwa watu wa broad-based wasemezane peke yao. Hiyo itakuwa kinyume na yale maafikiano yalikuwa kule Bomas ya NADCO.
Kipindi hiki, safari hii, we are not leaving anything to chance.
They are warning of pursuing legal avenues if the government side does not exhibit any goodwill.
Moving on, healthcare facilities contracted by the Social Health Authority will henceforth receive payment for their claims by the 14th of each month. Health Cabinet Secretary Aidan Duale has said, speaking after officially taking up his new role at Afya House, Duale has in addition outlined an ambitious roadmap to revamp the country's healthcare system, prioritizing financial accountability, improving service delivery, and enhancing patient care. The CS in particular vowed to take on rogue elements manipulating systems to defraud the country's health resources.
Close to 8 months after Deborah Barasa Mlongo took over as Health Cabinet Secretary, Afya House on Tuesday witnessing another change of guard, with Mlongo handing over to Aden Duale. Duale seemed to know exactly what ails Health Ministry and the remedy for it.
3 million fake people who are accessing NHIF resources were found out. We will push their names and we will push their facilities, entities and locations. We must tell the Kenyan people the truth.
Acknowledging the pending bills that are derailing the efficiency of the Social Health Authority, SHA, Duale directed that all claims owed to hospitals be paid by the 14th of each month.
All the system hitches will be addressed to for a very seamless service delivery of SHA. And that, I can assure you, we will have a timeline tomorrow when we sit with the stakeholders.
The CIS further announced enhanced shift packages for critical care and cancer treatment, with rebates for intensive care unit and high dependency unit beds set to rise to 28,000 shillings per day, while oncology patients will benefit from an enhanced treatment package of 550,000 shillings per individual.
So if I am to be called a bulldozer, let me be a bulldozer for the universal health coverage. Let me be a bulldozer for maternal health, for women's health, for strengthening our capacity to prevent and manage non-communicable diseases.
However, Duale's first day in office was not without drama, as tens of universal health coverage workers staged a sit-down at Afya House to demand to be absorbed on permanent and pensionable terms.
Elsewhere, costly maize flour and vegetables pushed inflation to a 9-month high despite fuel prices remaining suppressed in March. The monthly inflation report by the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics show that the cost of goods and services increased by 2.9% in March to 3.5%. The monthly inflation remains well below the official 5% ceiling.
Kenyan households continue to feel the pinch as inflation reaches a 6-month high. The latest Consumer Price Index report shows that inflation rose to 3.6% in March, up from 3.5% the previous month. The increase was largely driven by higher food, transport, electricity and cooking gas costs. Core inflation, which excludes food, fuel and transport, held steady at 2.2%, while non-core inflation dropped to 7.4% from 8.2% in February. The food and non-alcoholic beverages index rose by 0.7%. Among key food items, prices of sukuma wiki, Irish potatoes, maize grain and beef increased by 6.2%, 4%, 3.3% and 0.9% respectively. However, some staple foods saw slight price drops, with sugar falling by 0.7% and beans by 0.2%. The housing, water, electricity, gas and other fuel index edged up by 0.2%, primarily due to a 0.2% rise in LPG prices. Additionally, electricity costs for 50 kilowatt and 200 kilowatts users increased by 1% and 0.9% respectively. Meanwhile, non-food items also saw price hikes. Local flight fare surged by 3.9%, contributed to a 1.5% rise in the transport index. Despite some price drops, rising costs in key sectors continue to strain households' budgets, making life increasingly expensive for many Kenyans.
Now, the government has rolled out the 2025 edition of the Cyber Game Challenge that targets to identify and nurture a new generation of cybersecurity experts who can protect the nation's digital space.
More than 500 trained experts in a population of over 50 million people ICT and the Digital Economy Principal Secretary, Engineer John Tanui, says by involving students, young professionals and enthusiasts, the government hopes to identify and support a new generation of cybersecurity experts.
As a government, we want to unlock more opportunities for our young people. When you check online, there are close to 3.5 million opportunities in software development. And this is the area we want to prepare our Kenyan youth so that they can access opportunities in the cyberspace, especially cybersecurity.
He was speaking during launch of this year's edition of the Cyber Game Challenge, which will test the skills of participants in identifying and mitigating various types of cyber attacks.
So I want to encourage our stakeholders to support this initiative and our young people to participate through the guidance that has been given. There is the website that has been mentioned. You can log in, participate, follow these guidelines, note the duration that we have.
The reason why we accepted the instance and the reason why we accepted this inaugural game in Kenya, one, is to help develop cybersecurity teams, skills for our youth. It's mainly targeted to our youth right from the tertiary universities at the moment.
Through a series of levels and tasks, the games will help participants understand critical aspects of online security, including data protection, ethical hacking, malware detection, and network security.
Switching gears to sports now, where the national women's junior team, Junior Starlets, depart for Morocco today, where they will play for two high-profile friendly matches against Morocco's under-17 team. The team, coached by Mildred Cheche, will face their Moroccan counterparts on the 4th and 7th of this month. The matches are crucial as the Junior Starlets prepare for a decisive two-legged qualifier against Cameroon. The first leg of the qualifier is scheduled for the 20th of this month at Nyayo Stadium in Nairobi, where the return leg will take place on the April 25th at Stade Olemba in Yaoundé, Cameroon. The aggregate winner will secure a place in this year's FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup, set to be held in Morocco from the 17th of October to the 8th of November. The Junior Starlets advanced to the third round of qualifiers after defeating Uganda in the second round. Kenya is chasing history, aiming to qualify for the Under-17 FIFA Women's World Cup for the second consecutive time.
Moral kwa camp, players wanatamani sana tuinio game turudi tena World Cup. So kila mtu ana matamanio na anajua tunaenda kuinio game. So pia inatumotivate sana juu tunajua tumebakisha only 2 games home and away, na pia tunajaribu sana tuwin tena ndo turudi World Cup.
Cameroon is a very physical team, and also they play a lot of power play, and they have good strikers, so we have to prepare our defense effectively and also prepare our forwards to try and score early goals.
The latest from the EPL, Arsenal won 2-1 against their London rivals, that is Fulham. And also Manchester United were beaten 1-0 by Nottingham Forest, a goal by Anthony Ilanga. Well, that's put a cap on KBC Good Morning Kenya News this morning. Many thanks indeed for joining us. Wishing you a blessed day ahead. My name is Ben Troy. Enjoy. Have a good one.